Hey everyone, Brian from Variable Traders here. It is the weekend, October the 5th. And this, of course, is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the markets, and we'll take a look ahead, what we got coming up. And we're just about to launch into yet another earnings season. So should be an interesting one as we are at or near all-time highs in the market. So let's get down to it. All right, so let's start out by taking a look at what happened last week in the markets. A quick review. This week's focus, of course, we were looking for the PMI numbers that came out earlier in the week. Really just showed the economy is still in pretty good shape, solid footing. And then we had the employment numbers that came out on Friday. And man, the payrolls blew away expectations, 254,000 versus 150 expected on that increase in payrolls, and wages grew 0.4%. And of course, the unemployment rates continuing to start to come back down. People were a little bit concerned as we were getting into a sort of a trend to the upside on unemployment, but now we seem to be rolling over and heading back down. So all this data came out, really quelled some concerns about potential recession that could be coming, and that soft landing that everybody's hoping for is still in place. So we got a nice pop on Friday based on all those numbers. So at the end of the week, all the indexes ended up finishing up except for the IWM, which was down about 0.5%. Energy and communications, energy, of course, being a big winner this week because of all the tension in the Middle East. Communication services, getting some good numbers from Meta, that kind of stuff. Basic materials and real estate were the sectors that lost the most for the week. And I think that was in part due to this increase in yields on the treasuries. We went from 3.56 on the 2-year to 3.92. So that was a pretty significant increase. You don't usually see moves like that in the treasuries. The 10-year down a little bit, so we're coming back to a point where we may reinvert, which will be interesting. The dollar was up pretty decently this week, 2.2%, because of that increase in the 2-year treasury yields. Obviously, dollar becomes more attractive when the yields go up. And Bitcoin sitting around 62,000 sort of right now, which is down quite a bit from previous week. So that's how we ended the week. And before we move forward, as always, like to do a quick plug for my efforts here. These are my books on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, very popular book, and Profiting as an Active Trader, a little bit more intensive look at how to swing trade. And then, of course, my latest book, How to Trade Options, both as far as day trading and swing trading or even position trading. So all those books there, if you want to check them out, they're on Amazon in all the different formats: audio, electronic, or hard copy. Okay, so taking a look at some of the indexes that we watch every week. The TLT, this is the price of the long-term bonds. And you can see here we're really starting to roll over as yields start to go back up again. And of course, this is a bit of a concern, the markets, because it doesn't look like, according to the CME watch tool for the Fed, interest rate cuts. It looks like we've gone to quarter point in October, and so that means from 0.5 point. So that means people are scaling back their expectations on more rate cuts. So with the economy looking good and the job market looking good, it seems like there's less optimism for some more significant rate cuts in the near future. I think the bonds are probably going to hold in this level. But yeah, so yields have gone up, especially on that short term, the 2-year that I mentioned earlier. Dollar, of course, strengthening on the drop in bond prices and the increase in yields. That's just a pretty strong correlation there. The dollar becomes more attractive with the higher yields. It's almost a no-brainer. The Qs, we're still sitting well below this prior high. We're still sitting well below this all-time high, and you can see here we had we didn't have a pretty rough week, and really Friday after that jobs report came came back up here and sort of saved the day as far as the market, the weekly market index went. But yeah, we had PMI numbers came out, some of the economic data came out and showed some strength there. So I had a sort of a bad week going into Friday, but made it all back up on Friday, came back up. SPY is probably going to be the same story here. You can see here, a bit of a rough day. We tried to push higher, couldn't do it. Kind of started to roll over, lost the 9 EMA, but immediately Friday we came right back up to test this high. And I kind of feel like I mentioned last week, kind of felt like the market was getting a little tired up here. And so not surprising that we had this pullback sort of grind lower during the week. And then, of course, the jobs data sort of ignited the market back up to get them all excited again here. But, earnings is going to be interesting because I think a lot of people are waiting to see if these elevated levels in the indexes are going to be justified by the earnings that we are seeing. The Dow, again, pretty decent week overall after sort of a grind lower during the week. Again, mentioned that the market seemed a little bit tired up here, and it still seems that way as well. So we'll see what the CPI, and then of course as we get into earnings season, see what happens there. IWM really kind of struggling here. Again, sort of same as the Qs, same sort of story as the Qs. High back here in July, hasn't been able to quite make it back above this level, although it did challenge it here, and now we've pulled back again. So IWM again, not the best index to be in, struggling the most here. And Bitcoin again, I guess there's that trend line, and we're kind of pulling back now. Maybe we're going to pull back to this lower end again. Might be worth watching Bitcoin. I mean, we could play Bitcoin any number of ways now with these ETFs, but if we do get down below sort of into the 57 to 55 range, might be worth buying, because it sure seems like there's some decent support on Bitcoin. So yeah, again, I would be watching to see if it actually broke down. Could be some significant support here at this level, sort of 58,000. So that was it for the indexes this week. So let's go through some current positions, trades I was in last week, and this first one, Chinese ETF, FXI. This was from my watch list from the previous weekend, from last weekend. So sort of keeping an eye on it. Saw the pullback on Monday, and then got into it and had a nice little pop up there. Not a big position, but got a nice move from sort of mid 30s to up to 35. I got out of the trade because I kind of feel like there's a big debate going on right now whether this big run up is overdone now, whether it's going to continue up. But again, I'll just take the money on that one. Again, UVXY, this was one I had flagged because I thought there was some potential for this nice rounding little bottom here. I kind of thought there was some potential for more volatility in the market. And of course, the Middle East conflict and all the other stuff going on gave a nice pop up. And I am pretty much out of that trade, although I still am holding some, but I got in back down here. So I had a really nice run on that one as well. CMG, I'm still in. I've been in this for a couple weeks now. If you've been following me, I'm still looking for this for a break above sort of 60 level. We'll see here if it breaks down much more below where we kind of, we're finding some support here around 56. If it breaks below there, and I'm a little bit concerned it's going to, I will stop out of that trade. So those are some trades that I did last week that worked out fairly well. All right, so let's look at some trades that I am considering for next week. I really like Meta. Meta's really been breaking out, kind of an AI trade. They've been really using AI a lot in their advertising. They're very close to 600. I think I have almost no doubt in my mind that it's going to break through 600 next week. It's really hard to chase this up here, but what I might consider doing would be to use some options trades. So maybe sell some 570 or 560 puts next week, essentially putting me long, but collecting some premium, and then making those weeklies maybe taking advantage of the strong trend that Meta's in. I don't see this. I don't see how this could break down. You can always buy some puts down here below it if you needed some cover, if you didn't want to be naked puts. But regardless, this is in a very nice uptrend, and Meta still seems to be doing fairly well here. A couple of flyers here that I'm kind of looking at. Here's this one. It's a biotech company. They are reporting, or not reporting, they're going to be presenting at a conference in November, and they're really trying to hold on to this sort of 240 level. So I was thinking about maybe getting into this, especially if it can break above these moving averages. It does seem to have consolidated a lot in this range, and you can see here a lot of volume in this range here too, and if we can get above there, could be a $3 play. And so thinking about maybe taking a few shares there on a bit of a flyer. Google is another one I'm kind of watching. It really is at an area of prior resistance right here. And you can see here a little less volume, so we could easily move back up to into the 170s, 173 area if we can kind of break out of this range. And it does look like we are sloping up. Moving averages are trending in the right direction. The 9 has crossed the 20 there. So I think it looks actually pretty good for a possible breakout if we can get above sort of 168 on Google. Here's another one that's kind of could be a bit of a flyer here. This is a Sam Altman stock, and he's been on obviously on a bit of a tear. Popular guy on Reddit and all those channels, of course, with his ChatGPT. And this is a uranium play. So this is one of his sort of plays on uranium power, nuclear power. So nice little breakout there, and possible for it to, let's see if you go back here. I mean, this was a $15, $18 stock back here. I think it could break out. I kind of wish I had caught it back here under 10. But looking at this one, maybe we get a bit of a pullback on Monday, and possible opportunity to enter on that one. Silver, I was looking at silver here. It kind of looked like it was going to break down, but it held this moving average, and it looks like it might break out here. It's right at a prior area of resistance back in May, and it does look like it's getting ready to break out here. So something to keep an eye on if we do move above there. And crowds got this sort of 300 area as resistance. We got a bit of a pullback on it, and this could be an area where you could play with options by selling 275s, maybe buying 300s, sort of a risk reversal type option trade, or just maybe selling 275s and maybe buying 265s below it as a vertical. So yeah, a couple of different ways to play this, or just buy the stock. But again, a pretty expensive stock at almost $300. So if you want to know more about some options strategies to trade, you can always check out my book, as I mentioned already, How to Trade Options. Cover some of the strategies you could use to take advantage of a possible move higher on crowd. So those are the potentials I am looking at for next week. Okay, so let's wrap things up. What we got coming down the pipe here for October the 7th. You can see here, there's your levels on the Dow, on the Q, SPY, and IWM, with areas I'm kind of spotting as support and resistance. And as far as economics or economic events go next week, we do have CPI data and PPI data that are coming out later in the week. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. And then, of course, we have the 2 p.m. release of the September FOMC minutes, which could cause some volatility on Wednesday afternoon. As far as earnings go, not much on Monday. We've got PG and Pepsi. Tuesday. But this is sort of the kickoff the earnings season. When I see Delta Airlines, DAL, usually means we're going to head off into earnings, and of course J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, and they are usually the financials are the sort of the sign that the earnings season is upon us yet again. So be interesting to see if these numbers that they come out with are going to support continued move to the upside in the markets, because we are pretty highly valued in the markets in terms of sort of average price earnings ratios that you would expect. So that's it, everybody. Should be an interesting week next week. Stay tuned, and yeah, we'll be starting out our pre-market show as usual, 8 o'clock in the morning, engineering the markets on Monday. And of course, that's live on YouTube as well. You can join us there for free, or if you want to become a member of the Bear Bull trading community, we always welcome you, and it's cheap to try us out. So have a great rest of the weekend, and hopefully we will see you all on Monday morning. Bye for now.